It started with a grainy photo, too blurred to be sharp, too clear to ignore. Jungkook, unmistakable even in motion, was seen exiting the side entrance of the Vierra Hotel in Seoul just after midnight. The image wasn't taken by paparazzi. It was a fan, someone who had been waiting at the rear alley, hoping for a glimpse after the unannounced private event rumored to involve a few hype artists. The girl beside him wasn't a known face, not staff, not a manager. That's what triggered it. She walked close, not touching, but not distant enough to be dismissed as incidental. No umbrella, no rush. The doorman glanced at them and looked away too quickly. Some say the fan called his name quietly, once, and he turned. Others deny that, saying he just paused for a second, looked around, then kept walking with her. But that pause, that second, was enough. The silence of the hotel bar, the late hour, the choice of that exit, not the main lobby, not a service corridor, made it harder to explain. Not wrong, but strange. Too intentional to be a coincidence, too subtle to be casual. Within minutes, the photo spread. First in a small Discord group, then Twitter, then everywhere. Comments were cautious at first. Is this real? Could be anyone. It's blurry. But it wasn't the girl that people fixated on. It was the timing, the setting, the decision to leave through that door, at that hour, when fans were known to be nearby, when everyone else had already left, when he could have stayed 5 minutes longer, or 5 minutes less. And yet, he didn't. By morning, the timeline had already fractured. One user claimed they saw Jungkook earlier that night, seated at the far end of the hotel bar, partially hidden behind a column. Alone at first, then joined by someone in a pale gray coat. Another swore the girl had entered through the lobby 2 hours before midnight, speaking briefly with someone at reception before disappearing toward the lounge. No one could confirm it was the same girl, but the jacket matched. The timestamps didn't. Some posts got deleted within minutes. Others reposted with added circles and zoomed-in screenshots. The argument shifted from, who is she, to, why was he there at all? The hotel bar wasn't private, not closed off, not rented. It was public enough for guests, quiet enough for privacy, but not quiet enough to go unnoticed. People were around, staff, a few patrons, and fans, those who stayed late, just in case. He knows this place isn't empty after midnight, someone wrote. This wasn't backstage. The moment that solidified, it wasn't a fan theory, but a video. 12 seconds, shaky, posted, then pulled. It showed Jungkook and the girl standing near the bar side entrance, not touching, not speaking, just standing. His hands were in his pockets. She looked at the floor. Then they moved. Together, but not together. Enough space between them to deny, but not enough to dismiss. Someone off camera whispered, "Is that Jungkook?" Not loud, but not inaudible either. And his head turned. Briefly. That turn lit the fuse, because he heard, because he knew. And still, he left. The hotel issued no statements. High B remained silent, but by midday, fan accounts had already begun dissecting the layout of the Vierra bar, posting floor plans, guest photos from previous visits, timestamp comparisons from Google reviews. One account posted a blurred shot from a mirrored wall panel, possibly capturing Jungkook's reflection earlier that evening. The girl wasn't visible. That only fueled it. It wasn't jealousy. It was geography. There were people sitting 2 tables over. One post read, "This wasn't a tucked-away rooftop. This was ground floor, lit, staffed, visible." Screenshots circulated, showing the bar's official hours, lighting patterns, the signature drinks on the midnight menu. Then came the deleted staff tweet. An anonymous account, claimed to be an employee, posted, "You don't wait in that part of the bar unless you're leaving with someone." It was gone in 3 minutes, but archived, reposted, analyzed. Theories multiplied. Not about the girl, but about the choice. Why here? Why now? Why this hotel? He had other places. He had exits. He had drivers. Some argued he was trying to be seen. Others insisted it was a slip. But the tension didn't stem from her. It came from the location's undeniability. This wasn't a car, not a blurred parking lot, not a coded story post. This was posture, pause, proximity. In a place where fans were, where someone did see, where the silence afterward felt like confirmation, not of what happened, but of the awareness that it would be seen. By late afternoon, the discussion had ruptured into factions, not over what happened, but over how visible it was meant to be. One thread reached thousands of reposts in hours, breaking down the lighting setup outside the Vierra's side entrance. Why the glow from the signage would have backlit anyone exiting, making silhouettes unmistakable from across the street. A user stitched a slow zoom on Jungkook's posture as he paused, his back half turned toward the alley, just long enough for a single phone to lift. "He had to see it," they wrote. "There's a mirror across from the door. You see everything behind you." Someone else matched the moment to the bar's playlist. Apparently, an English ballad was playing, something quiet, romantic. That wasn't confirmed, but enough people believed it to push the mood into something even more uncomfortable. Not dramatic, too calculated. He knew fans waited outside after events. He knew the lobby cameras. He knew the alley had only one blind spot, and he didn't take it. What made it worse wasn't what he did, but what he didn't do. He didn't hurry, didn't keep distance, didn't cover his face. The girl stayed just behind him, expression unreadable in the shadows. No conversation, no phones, no staff around to break the silhouette. The absence of anyone else made it louder. This was the hour when other artists had already left. Security had stepped back. Only a few die-hard fans still lingered. And that's when it happened. One fan's caption said it best. "It felt like we weren't supposed to see it, but also like we were the reason it happened." That contradiction infected the thread. Some fans went defensive, claiming coincidence, poor framing, media manipulation. But those explanations felt thin, because the discomfort wasn't born from what could be proven. It was born from what was too normal to ignore. A hotel bar, a side door, a soft hour. Not scandalous, just wrong. Wrong in the way you look away from someone who forgot they're being watched. By evening, it was no longer about Jungkook and the girl. It was about the moment and what it broke. Reddit threads shifted from theory to dissection. TikTok edits emerged, not romanticized, but slowed, muted, overlaid with captions like, "He didn't have to leave then," and "Why choose that door?" Fans began geotagging previous idol sightings at the Vierra, pointing out that it had never been a common exit point. It wasn't on any of the usual fan maps. Someone shared an old fan cam of Jungkook leaving a different venue months ago. Hood up, surrounded by staff, not a single exposed second. The contrast only sharpened the unease. "He knows how to disappear," someone posted. "So why didn't he?" Theories stopped circling the girl entirely. Her presence became secondary to the exposure. Commenters debated intent versus accident, but the middle ground felt thinner with each repost. A viral thread accused fan bases of burying early mentions of the moment. Screenshots allegedly removed from large accounts. Discords going silent. Mods asking for calm. That censorship, intentional or not, only deepened the suspicion. The timeline was no longer fragmented. It was infected. Not just with speculation, but with a kind of collective embarrassment. Fans started editing their posts to soften the tone. Others doubled down. A few wrote long threads trying to rationalize. Maybe he didn't realize how it would look. Maybe it was just bad timing. But it was too late. The story had already detached from them. It wasn't about who anymore. It was about where and when, and the way he stood there for one beat too long. The way the light hit just enough to show his profile. The way no one stopped him. The way she waited. The way the night allowed it. No statement came. No apology. No denial. Nothing to anchor the discourse. And in that vacuum, the discomfort calcified, not into scandal, but into a lingering question. Why there? Why now? A question no longer whispered, but reposted, reshaped, reframed, until it stopped being a detail and became something larger. Not about what happened, but about the feeling that, this time, he chose to let it be seen.